Good evening, everyone. We're waiting on at least one more board member, so we'll have our quorum. Everybody's kind of lagging and tarrying after these vacation breaks. We probably need to cancel vacation breaks. So thank you so much for your patience.
languages. When I meet someone for the first time, I like to smile. Even before I say hello. When someone smiles at me, it makes me feel good. And if I'm having a bad day, it always makes me feel better. One time a kid was not very nice to me and wouldn't let me play. I felt very sad until my friend came over and invited me to play. At that moment, his smile and kindness picked me up. I like to smile at people because it costs nothing and it's worth $1,000,000. Every time I smile at someone, it's like sending sunshine into their lives. It's a nice feeling. When my grandpa was in the hospital, they didn't let me visit him because it was flu season. We were missing each other so much. So I decided to FaceTime him. When he answered, we both smiled at each other. It was unexplainable love. A smile cannot be bought, borrowed, or stolen, but the value is endless. The world needs more happy, smiling faces. It's the greatest power ever. If you smile, it can make the world a better place. A smile can brighten a mad person's day, so next time you walk by someone, look at them and give them a nice, big, family smile. Make everything so much better for the both of you. We shall never know all the good that a simple smile can do. So spread it across the world.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our July 12th regularly scheduled work session. I want to welcome all of our visitors and administrators who may be working through the summer. Thank you all for attending. We're moving right along on our agenda. We have a public agenda each time we meet. We do not have any requests. But I would like to just take a moment just to remind everyone about the process. All official meetings of the board shall be open to the press and the public. However, the board may meet in executive session. Citizens are encouraged to address items on the board agenda or to initiate presentations of issues appropriate for school board consideration. The board meeting is not the appropriate place to review individual employee performance or individual parent complaints that have not been addressed by the principal of the school or the superintendent. Citizens are encouraged to follow our normal channels to address such problems or issues. And that is calling the superintendent's office to request to be on the agenda with Ms. Karen P. Jones or to send her an email. Our first presentation is an update on the Behavior Supports Program. Let's going to be Dr. Poitras and her team. Hold on.
Good evening,
All right.
board members, Dr. Lewis. I am Dr. Crystal Poitras, the Executive Director of the Program for Exceptional Students. I am honored to come before you to share updates on the Behavioral Support Program. Our Behavioral Support Program provides a continuum of services to support the most vulnerable of students. It is our goal to equip students with positive replacement behaviors and coping skills so that they are able to achieve academically and socially. As a result of that achievement, students' lives are changed. I would like to share with you just one of the many BSP student outcomes that highlights that achievement, the area of graduation rate. For the 2021 school year, 100% of students in the Behavior Support Program graduated alongside their general education peers, participating in graduation ceremonies at Kendrick High School, Shaw High School, Northside High School, and Jordan Vocational High School. This is the third year in a row that BSP has had a 100% graduation rate. Those graduating students have gone on to start college or enter into the workforce, becoming successful, productive members of the community. At this time, I would like to turn over the presentation to Victoria Robinson, our PES Behavior Support Program Manager, to continue sharing the great work that is being done in our Behavior Support Program.
Thank you, Dr. Poitras. I would like to take a moment to thank Dr. Lewis and board members for making mental health a priority for our students. March 13th, 2020, education changed for everyone. The pandemic changed the meaning of social in our minds forever. Mental health diagnoses are the unseen disability. Our students look like their typical peers and sometimes act like their typical peers, but struggle with emotional regulation. Emotional regulation was eloquently described by one of our students as a war within oneself. The student said that the war is contained with the correct tools, but without the tools, nothing survives. As you can see, our students are acutely aware of their disability. BSP teaches them the tools, so not only do they survive, they thrive. Thank you, Dr. Lewis and board members, for seeing those students. They are thriving because of you. A highlight of our students thriving is the percentage they have moved to a lesser restrictive environment. And if we look at that slide, I am super proud of that. In our 1920 school year, we had 22% of our kids move to a lesser restrictive environment. In our 2021 school year, we had 23% move. This past year, we had 64% move to a lesser restrictive environment. One of the most amazing pieces of this data that I was super excited for is from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year, 68% of our students that were entered into our therapeutic day program moved out of our therapeutic day program into a classroom within the schools within the district. So it was amazing progress. The tools are working and our students were seeing the success with it. Thank you. Next. For parent engagement, as I've come before and shared with you guys previously, we are sharing parent engagement and involvement through our parent university. And again, during COVID, we moved that to a virtual platform where it's at our parents' convenience and they can access those tools and learning 24 hours a day with the links that we provide to them. Some of the supports that have been provided by our behavior support program to the district and school supports. We've provided 31 professional development trainings to teachers and staff in schools across the district. In collaborating with Mr. Anderson and his awesome team, we provided training to all of our bus drivers in managing challenging behaviors. And we also have provided administrator training over the Georgia discipline rule to all administrators. I want to take a moment to give a shout out to our mental health therapists. They are supportive, awesome part of our team. In 21-22, they provided over 18,000 hours of individual counseling to our students and over 2,000 hours of group social emotional learning lessons. And we can see that in the progress that our students have made. The word is out. Muscogee County School District is a premier district, and everyone wants to know what we are doing. Next. BSP has had the opportunity to present our continuum of service on a national level with Education Week at the Georgia Association of Educational Leadership Winter Conference, and the Georgia Department of Education's Division of School and School District Effectiveness requested that BSP present at their Instructional Leadership Conference. We have also hosted Duval County Superintendent, their Executive Director of Exceptional Students Education and Team. Duval County is located in Jacksonville, Florida. They are the 20th largest district in the nation and have over 130,000 students. After visiting us, Muscogee County, and viewing our behavior supports program, they have adopted our continuum of service. We are proud of the work that is being done in BSP, and we are proud to be a part of Muscogee County, the premier district. And I want to show some slides and snapshots of the work that's being done. So these are some pictures of our teams and some of the kids and some of the things that have been done, everything with our Santa that goes out with our BCBA elves every year, our kids, our kindergarten graduation ceremonies, our teams, and our students as they go to lesser restrictive environments, the celebrations that we have with them. Next slide. And again, the fun activities that we get to be a part of and the quality instruction that occurs. Thank you.
Board members, thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to be able to share this information with you all. This group of kids are often the kids who end up maybe dropping out of school or participating in activities that can impact them for the rest of their lives. And I am proud to say that the Muscogee County School District is working hard and doing what needs to be done to help these students. Thank you so much.
That's a great job. Thank you so much for the update. Ms. Chambers.
I just had a couple of questions. So excellent job. Glad to hear that the program is going well. I just had a couple of questions. You mentioned that the BSP graduation rate was 100%. I was just wondering how many students are we talking about at each one of the high schools?
So I couldn't get that number to you. There are some that are from our site locations that we're housed in, and there are some from the therapeutic day that participated in their homeschool graduations. But I can't get that total number to you.
Sounds good. So you may have to get this next number for me as well. If we have 68% that graduated from the therapeutic day school, how many students are we currently still servicing at the therapeutic day school? I'd be interested to know that. And you mentioned the mental health therapy, and I think that's excellent that we're providing that for students. Is that part of the wraparound services provided by Chance Light?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. Sounds good. If you can get me those numbers, thank you guys for all you're doing, and excellent job. Thank you.
Stick around a little longer. I left prematurely.
Yes, and I'm glad that you're bringing it now so that parents can be prepared with the upcoming school year, and make sure that we continue to do a good job, but maybe ramp that up about what we offer, especially in those initial stages, because I was glad to see you included the elementary school, so parents will know that they have the additional support that we provide. Dr. Lewis, did you want to?
Yes, I just want to thank Mark Consigliano and all of the staff with Chance Light, as well as all of our staff at the schools-based level who receive these students, work with these students, receive them when they come back from the therapeutic day school, and provide those services ongoingly as we need to. But I also want to thank Victoria, Dr. Poitras, Dr. Vickers-Ward, and Ryan Schweck for their leadership, because they are constantly working to try and improve and serve the needs of those students going forward. So thank you so very much for your leadership. And again, once again, to Chance Light staff, as well as our school-based staff, because this, when you see these students before we had Chance Light, just remember a few years ago, these students, as was mentioned, would either be disciplined, they'd be suspended from school, they would not have had the support and resources. As it turns out now, they can regulate themselves, they can move back into a regular classroom, their least restrictive environment, and then go on to learn how to cope and regulate themselves going into the workplace. And that's ultimately what we want. So I'm just so proud of the work that's being done here. And I'm proud that we can, in fact, be that premier district and show other districts that the continuum of services is not only necessary, but it's indeed required for students to be successful. And that means all. Thank you.
And I know your PES, as y'all like to use these acronyms, team is here, so everybody just wave or stand so we can tell you thank you, as well as our partnership with Chance Light employees. Thank you all so much for the work that you do. And I think I remember with Duval County when they were here, talking to them about, because they wanted to know how we got on this track, how we got here. And I told them, every board meeting, the parents were here, wanting us, compelling us to do something other than disciplining their children. And so that's what, they recognize, okay, yeah, that's where we are with the parents wanting us to do something different. And so thank you all for the example and all of the hard work. Thank you so much, and for the partnership as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to our committee reports. Ms. Buckner with the Education Committee.
We have one item on the Education Committee, and that is proposal from Britt David Magnet theme. And let's see who's presenting that. Okay, here we go, Karen. That teammate from Phoenix City.
Yeah, Ms. Garner. Good evening, board members, Dr. Lewis, cabinet, and visitors. And I have a few teachers from Britt David on our magnet committee that came out to support us during their summer, even when they're off contract. So I thank you for coming tonight. First of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to be able to present our vision for Britt David. And it's not only for us, but it's for our school district. In rebranding Britt David's Magnet Focus, I'm very passionate on our upcoming proposal that I'm about to present. Before I begin the slideshow presentation, and don't freak out, I'm not going to read all 17 slides. I will go through it very, very quickly. I just wanted to let you know just a little bit on how we got to this journey. I've been at Britt David for 5 years now, and when you look back sometimes you think, well, I really didn't accomplish that much, but when you look back on where we started to where we are today, and in the middle, we had the COVID beast that kind of came, and so when you say it's taken us about 2 years to start with our proposal, because I kidded with Christina a while ago. I said, you started with us when you were Magnet Proposal, and then you left and went Hardaway, and here we are working together again. So I'm excited on working with Christina again on our vision. But anyway, before I begin, I just want to let you know that what we had done is, we know that education is constantly changing. And as I looked when I first entered Britt David, I thought, well, we're a computer technology. And I had the opportunity to be in other schools, Title I schools, and I thought, a lot of schools have a lot more technology than we do at Britt David. And those of you that don't know me, if we're going to do something, I want to, instead of just checking off the box saying we're a computer magnet, I want us to do what we're doing. And I felt like we've moved past that because, like I said, how many would have thought over 4 or 5 years ago that we would be a district, we have 1-to-1 in the technology that we have? We wouldn't have even thought about that 5 or 6 years ago. So I didn't feel like we lived up to what we had said as far as our magnet. So the first thing I thought, well, where do I start from here? So I went to my awesome region chief, Mr. Baker. He's always very positive. He said, okay, Karen, but you need to go to Dr. Lewis. So I had an appointment with Dr. Lewis, and I talked to him. And I do want to thank both of them for being positive and saying to go for it. At that time, we had no idea what we were going to do at Britt David. We formed a magnet committee, and I said, come on, this is our vision on what we want to do. Had a lot of people telling us what we wanted to do, but if it doesn't feel right, you're just not going to do it. There you again, you feel like you're just going to check off the box. So what we started doing is we did a lot of research on things that we felt like would fit our students. And during this time, we changed the whole way that our boys and girls were being tested. I don't know if any of y'all have lived through the time where we first would put, when kids got a Social Security number, they'd put their child on a list, and then they would, and if your child was on the list, you got tested or whatever. But now I feel like we're so much more diversified. They go through the magnet process. Every child in Muscogee County has an opportunity to take the test. We've equipped military. Like the first week of school, we probably have over 10 to 15 kids that they've gotten orders. We will be testing, if they move in from Aflac or TSIS or whatever. I feel like we're meeting the community's needs. So we did a lot of research. We were able to have magnet visits. I will say every teacher in the school was able to visit a magnet school throughout the state of Georgia to see what they had going on. Saw a lot of good things, but we still just didn't see what we felt like would fit Britt David. We had an opportunity to go. Some of our teachers went to Magnet Schools of America conference, got a lot of ideas there. Then we were kind of interrupted with the pandemic. And I guess through just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, we now have a clear vision on where we feel like we should go at Britt David. Our proposal is advanced college preparatory with CTAE integration. We have surveyed our parents. They are very excited about it because, what more than when you think about careers, technology, not everybody's on the pathway to go to college. So that's where, our technical and agriculture, and our parents are very excited about it. I feel like we have a lot of partners from my parents that will be able to assist with us in our proposal. And if it's approved, we did have 4 teachers. I have 2 of the ones that were able to go to the conference in Jekyll Island, and I don't know if Victoria's here or not tonight. Oh, there you are, Victoria. So we did go to Victoria Thomas also, and I said, Victoria, before we go any further, are we completely, on the wrong track with thinking? And she said, I think it's the most wonderful thing you could do. That CTAE now, it used to just be 6 through 12, but it's come down for 5th, so we're going to be allowed to get some money for 5th grade funding. She invited us to go to Jekyll Island, so I did have 4 teachers that were able to go. They came back with so many ideas and were so excited, and they did have an opportunity to meet. I'm not sure, I know Victoria knows her well, Dr. Barbara Wall. She's the state director of Georgia for CTAE. She's equally excited because the good thing about it, this is not just for Britt David, it is for Muscogee County. There's not a magnet for elementary. We don't even think in the United States for CTAE. So they said if we're able to go with it, we'll be the first premier magnet for CTAE for the state of Georgia. So it's not just us, it's for Muscogee County. I am so excited about starting something new. And the bottom line is, I think it's the best thing for our children. At this time, I know I'm talking real fast, and we're going to just highlight a few things on our slide, and we'll go through it. But I know all of you can read, but I do want to just highlight a couple things on it at this time. Okay. The first thing is just our mission in Muscogee County CTAE mission. And if you're not sure, like somebody said, y'all have all kind of acronyms, and I know it's Georgia Association Career and Technical Education. And then we want to know, how does this correlate with Britt David? We have formed a mission as Britt David, and then also a vision. And I think before you do anything, you have to have a vision and an end result on where you're going. Next slide is just 3 components that we feel like, next one. Okay. All right. It's very important. Our goal our goal of the program, and the uniqueness. And the uniqueness is that we would be the first Georgia based on our MAP assessments. If you're not familiar with MAP, that's what we're already testing our children when they come to Britt David for the magnet program, is we're testing them on the MAP program. It is a wonderful, wonderful test. It's a measure of academic performance. That's what MAP stands for. I'm not sure. Is there any more? Sir? Slides? Okay. Okay, next slide. Yeah, that's the one. That was the three. Okay. Yeah, our goals, and then, yeah, uniqueness and stakeholders. Okay. I might be Southern, but I can talk fast. Okay. You can go to the next slide. Okay. Let's see. This is our program description, and it just shows you where we would start with project-based learning, PBL, career-related, parent-led work, and then to our CTA clubs. This is where the kids will start getting involved with our clubs and groups, and then our portfolio development. This is mainly until our 3rd through 5th graders, and our counselor that's back there, wave Monica, she's the one. And you know, we've kind of gotten away from some of that. It used to be CCRPI points, but they will be doing a portfolio, and it will follow them into our middle school. Next slide, please. Through the different things, we'll do virtual job shadowing, so it's not all going off campus. A lot of things we will do in-house, college match, pros, and then parent-led work experiences. We've already started a portfolio of different parents that have, with their different occupations, whether it's a welder, all the way up to if they're a doctor, pharmacist, or whatever, that are excited about helping us and leading us in our journey. The next couple of slides with our CTA groups and clubs, and these are just things that we've projected. I'm sure it'll change. This is just a skeleton model of things we've thought about. Like, and all children will be required to participate in 3 groups a year, and they will be able, once they take the MAP test, we'll see where they're leaded, whether or not, you know, they want to be in a policeman or in a biology club or 4-H or health and occupation. And these are the things that we should start in August when we first assess our boys and girls. And all the way kindergarten through 5th grade, on the next slide where it says portfolio development, this is where our counselor will come in, and we'll start career day. All the way, if you see up to 5th grade, is where parent-led work experiences and a portfolio submission before they leave. And we are going to ask our boys and girls to do get community service hours. It'll start real low with the younger grades all the way up to 5th grade. And next one is just throughout assessment. And to me, anything that you inspect, you have to expect. So we are going to have the boys and girls take the MAP test kindergarten through 2nd, and we're going to use the GMILES, their results for 3rd through 5th. It's a short, we're already assessment. We're already a partner with MAP because we've been using them for 3 years for our magnet testing. And at the end, the next one with the 9-week period, we've kind of have some compact standards for each grade, and it's got a baseline of the time periods. And the next one on implementation, it just gives you an overview. And when it says BOI, it's not BOI, it's just the beginning of the year, the assessment days, and these might change, but you know, you have to have a guideline to go by, and it will be in 10-week increments. And what I like is the next one where it's got alignment with our careers is that we've already aligned K through 5th. We took the standards for social studies, science, and our career clusters that are by the state, and we've embedded them like what they would children would have to choose from in kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade on their interests they would like to do. And this is back to when I said they would have to choose 3 areas that they would like to work with. And this is going to bring in our social studies, science, and career clusters. I think this next to last page is just a sample of what the MAP test looks like. And then the last one is just professional development that we've already researched. It's just project-based learning, career tech conference, GACTE, and that's what some of our teachers were able to go with, along with Victoria Thomas, and then just the Ron Clark, because sometimes, we're real excited, and I'm real excited, but we've got to get everybody on board excited. And so we know we will have to offer a lot of professional development. And that's where we're heading to get Britt David. So if you have any questions or comments?
Questions? Mrs. Chambers?
Did I talk too fast?
About the best I can say. I can't imagine. These are elementary school age children.
Yes, sir. And I have, without a doubt, know that they can do it. And I don't know if any of you look at our demographics or wherever, we have children since we've started our new testing in the last 3 years. I feel like we're probably the most diverse school in Muscogee County, and I'm so proud of every child that we have, not only in Britt David, but across the board, and I think that we'll be able to reach their potential.
Mrs. Chambers?
Go ahead, Ms. Chambers.
Yes, just a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's an excellent program, and I'm glad to see we've interjected the CTAE into the elementary school in this way. My question is more around the entrance requirements, because you have a lot going on with this program. You're teaching self skills, differentiated education, you do a lot of hands-on, and a lot of application, which would be very beneficial for kids that may not be performing in a traditional school, but may not be able to pass the test or the requirements. So my concern is not a concern. Let me take that word back. My question is about the entrance requirements. What are we requiring of the students in order to be able to take advantage of all of this great educational opportunity?
That's a very good question, and I guess I didn't relate to that. But right now, it has just been, like it was a paper and pencil, but it is a computer-based, and you're correct, all students don't do good on computers. I was not a real good test taker, but even last year, we started an interview process where, like, our kindergarten teachers or other teachers, they would interview and talk to them, so you were able to see different things. This year, what we want to do is, like our technology teacher, we're going to do things like a hands-on, or, hey, build me something out of, I don't know, coding, or even with the little ones, Legos or whatever. So we have thought about that, because we do know all children, they do not test well. So it's not going to just be a computer-based, which we had already started, the last 2 years, we had already started adding a component to that.
Okay. My concern would be that we would be able to service those students that would benefit the most from this type of program.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's my only, I think it's excellent. It just offers so much more than just a traditional educational experience. But if you could send me or send the board just those requirements, how stringent is it going to be for students to actually get into the program?
Okay.
That would be my only question.
So I just want to reiterate that we went back to the focus of when Britt David was first established, as you well know, having been there.
Absolutely.
And so we're still it's going to be a Magnet Academy that is continuing to advance on, be focused on advanced college preparatory, but with the integration of the CTAE applied-based learning. So I guess the best way to say it is engineers, doctors, they all start somewhere. We're trying to help them understand right now that this is a good way to put hands-on and have some career shadowing and opportunities of talking with professionals in those areas. Engineers, I think a lot of times kids are not really sure what an engineer does. or how wide and broad that can be.
Absolutely.
So this is a great opportunity for these bright kids to come into the program and start realizing, gosh, these are some opportunities that are out there they may not think of, or whatever. So, and we have so many great partnerships, as you all know, in Columbus and around Columbus area, where kids can go and experience some of these opportunities through our, we envision being able to partner with our Chamber of Commerce and many of those other opportunities in our community. So we think this is a great opportunity for these kids and for the future. But again, it's focused with that idea. They're coming into this college preparatory program with that hands-on academic approach in these career fields.
Yeah,
And
I think
that goes back to the very genesis of Britt David.
Right. I definitely think that's an excellent idea. I just don't want to, let's not miss those smart kids who may not be great test takers. 'Cause
No,
they
and
would
I
benefit
completely
so much.
understand, and I will say, the majority of our kids come when they're like from pre-K to kindergarten. We have very few openings, because most of the time, once they get in kindergarten, they stay all the way to 5th grade. But we have added, I was adding, looking at our enrollment today. But I think you would be pleased to know, like I said, we did realize, because first year it was all about reading. And so then we started, the MAP test offered reading and math. We saw so many kids that got in, maybe more on their math scores because, and I'm not saying gender, but a lot of times boys are a little stronger in math than the reading or whatever. But where I feel like we had missed some children in the past. But then what we did with the kindergartners is we would get them in there and give them a pencil and say, hey, draw me, show me your house or show me this. And they would do a little, the kindergarten teachers would say, oh, I give them a 10 out of 10. Well, they didn't do as well on the computer test, but they got in because we saw strengths and we saw their verbal, the way they spoke, and, or tell me a story, tell me a little story or whatever. So we are working toward that, but I'll be glad to send that to you.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. And the only other question is, will there be any additional funding needed for this program?
You never ask the principal that.
The answer is yes.
Always yes.
The question
Yes.
is, where is the funding coming from? And I saw her looking over at Ms. Thomas. Apparently Britt David has figured out some funding that's over there in CTAE division.
We have, and I will.
Did I read all that?
Yes. See,
See,
Victoria, she's going to be my
Okay.
best friend. And I will say, we used to have, we had computers labs. Well, we know a computer lab is out of date. Kids need to be in the classroom. So we had 3 empty, we've been looking at this. We had 3 empty computer labs. So with the help of PTA and just fundraisers, we have a STEM room and a computer room and we've ordered what's those goggles called, Lisa? Yeah, and we've already got a lot of things where the kids will go to those areas, but we always need money. So if y'all have some loose change around, you just let us know. Okay.
Yeah, we
Okay,
got
thank
that
y'all.
Britt David stack over there
Yeah.
down the hall, in the basement. Yeah.
All right, I'll find it on my way out. Thank y'all.
Wait, I have some
Okay, I'm
questions.
sorry, Ms. Butner.
What's the rank of Britt David in the state of Georgia? Even if we have to go back
We go
to-
between 1 and 2.
Or we can go back to
And I hope-
2019, or because 2020 was a drop, or,
Ms. Butler.
I'm
Are
sorry.
you-
Yes, tell me the rank of Britt David in the state of
You
Georgia.
okay, we were number 2.
Okay, so,
But I,
so in a school that is number 2 in the state of Georgia, and it's always 2 or 3, sometimes 1, isn't it?
yeah, if you
Okay,
look at the
so-
niche report or you look at different ones, and I will say, when I find out 1, and then if it was 3, I'd find out 2, you have to really look. I'd look at some of them, and they would just be a K2 school. Or I look at one that's Kittredge, and they're in Atlanta, and they're always number 1. Well, I looked at them, they're like a 3 through 5.
Right.
We're K through 5, and we're all God's children, so.
So, we're talking about a school that's generally 2 or 3 every.
Yes, ma'am.
In the whole state of Georgia. So, and we're also looking at a school where kids most of the time, when parents are born in Columbus, Georgia, they immediately try to put their child on a list to get in Britt David,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? Which is good, no problem, because, you know, I'm sure there's some great teaching going on, but a lot of these kids come in a home where that education will be reinforced at home. And so for the most part, they have already come with advantages. And I was going back to the question that Mrs. Chambers asked.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I'm not trying to change the focus of this school, because I like the school, brings a lot of good attention to Columbus, Georgia. And I like the idea of the CTAE, you know, and I know even you have already introduced it as an advanced college preparatory with a CTA integration. So
Right.
we already know that it's still going to be advanced college preparatory class, but it's going to be introducing kids as they advance academically. They will see what the academics, what the coursework can do, some practical
Right.
experience of what the coursework is doing. They're connecting it, I guess, Ms. Thomas, right? They're connecting
Relevance.
the relevance of, so, and you said that you also, it's not always just a test. Y'all introduced, which I think is good, y'all introduced an interview type of situation to try to get more students in the program.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's good. The only thing I was saying is if we could try to get, and I'm not trying to change the focus, because like I said, you have these kids, that's your focus, and this is very good, the CTA. If we could try a little harder to get more students in the program, and if we could expand this, because other schools will need this more. Other schools will need the CTA, because the parents of these students most likely have the discussion. I see soft skill development. A lot of the students that you have already have soft skill development. I think you have it more, but they tend to have soft skills already because they do a lot of talking and reading already in the homes, because they come there with academics, and they come there probably with parents who have put them on a list when they were born, you know. So my point is, I like what you're doing, and I like the focus. I like these kids. I think they should, you know, have this CTA advantage here. But I was trying to make sure that we try to get a way to include more in your program, and that, Ms. Thomas, that we can get actually the CTA program in more elementary schools, because I think we talked at one time about the relevance about middle school, and we talked about how important it is. And if we can get these kids showing some relevance in this education, see, a lot of kids, they don't see the point of school, you know. Now, your kids will, because they have leadership, they have parents, your teachers. But a lot of kids don't see, they don't connect it. They don't connect school with what they're doing. And so if we can get this, and y'all can start it off for us, because you're going to put it in the, y'all probably be bringing us reports about what you're doing, and then it can take off to a lot of other elementary
Well,
schools.
Ms. Buckner, if I may, first of all, Britt David's been a leader in our state for a long time with
Right.
technology at one point. Now the rest of the state is caught up with technology. So here we are, once again, pioneering a new way of looking at how we can connect kids' learning to their future. And that's really kind of the point of CTAE. At some point, we want them all to go, whether it's after college, after high school, whatever, we all want them to go to
Where
work.
they want to go.
We want them to go to work, and we want them to be successful in what they do and be able to choose where they want to go and know what options are available to them. With this advanced learning, they're going to have availability to do that and connect with professionals in respective areas. But Ms. Thomas is here, and there's not a better expert in the state, in my opinion, than Victoria Thomas to talk a little bit about how that connects to
Right,
what their kids'
they
future are
already have
and
the
the funding
advanced
that's available.
college preparatory.
And so once this, just like technology, Britt David once led that, and everybody else caught up. this is an area where we think that Britt David can once again be a model to expand to other schools going forward.
Now, technically, Britt David has always had the advanced college preparatory. Now, whether it has been said, it has always had the
Right.
advanced college preparatory because of the type of kids that go in there and because that, I know it's good instruction going in there. But I do know that focus in that house, in the kids' home, they were always advancing for college or some kind of preparatory. So, I'm sorry, Ms. Thomas.
No, I wanted to make sure that we did have the list, but we don't do that anymore. The last 2 years, we've tested over 500 kids. So when we do the whole school-wide magnet applications, I mean, it's us, it's St. Mary's, it's Clubview, it's everybody. So when I say over 500 and something kids, we give every parent that wants to, I mean, some really didn't even know how to fill out the application. They had an opportunity to come to the school. We led them through it or whatever. So that makes me happy that we are serving, I feel like, a more well-rounded throughout Muscogee County.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to make
Yeah,
sure that we heard
I might have
I
worded.
didn't
that you
get
no
that. I didn't
longer
get that.
have the out-of-the-womb list
No, ma'am.
of
No, ma'am.
students that are automatically routed into Britt David
No.
that you have gotten. But my question was going to be, how did you tell those people they were no longer on the list?
We sent letters, I sent it to Dr. Lewis for him to approve, and Terry, a letter that, that we no longer were doing that. A lot of people had returned because some people had moved from the area or whatever. Some people, there were a few that were a little upset, but I thought if your child, meets qualifications, they can get in. But it went really, I'm gonna be honest, it went a lot smoother than I thought it would. But we're going on 3 years now with the new criteria.
Very good. I actually did not hear that
Okay.
until you came back
I'm
up to the
sorry,
mic
I
and
might
said
have
it. No, you said it.
And I'm going
I
to let
just-
Victoria speak, but I just want to say, our mission statement speaks to all students, and all means all. And we made that commitment some time ago with both our gifted program, with all of our programs, to invite all students who, that's the reason we're looking at all the various, whether it's the arts, whether it's athletics, whether it's CTAE, we want to have options for students. We need to make sure we have options to mine for the talents and gifts that every child comes to school with. Some are recognized, some are have not yet been mined and discovered. But bottom line is, we're going to provide options for all students, and this is one more step in that direction. So I'm going to turn over to, again, the expert.
Thank you for calling me an expert. Good evening. I'm Victoria Thomas, and I am the director of CTAE here in Muscogee County. And I just wanted to say a few things about CTAE and its involvement in elementary school. As Ms. Garner said, starting with the reauthorization of Perkins federal funds, we are permitted to spend federal funds down to 5th grade when previously we could only spend down to 7th grade. Of course, Muscogee County has the ability to give local funds to be spent under my direction or CTA's direction, however, but that was, federal funds can now spend the 5th grade. We do have other CTA programs in elementary schools. I wanted to make that clear. At South Columbus Elementary, they have a elementary agriculture program, and we have one other elementary school that's interested in starting one. So like Dr. Lewis said, we hope that Britt David can lead the way and to demonstrate that all students, all abilities would benefit from career education. Like Dr. Lewis just said, whether you're going to go to college or not, eventually we want you to work and be a contributing member of society. So it may be that your academic ability allows you to be just a nurse practitioner, or it might allow you to be a surgeon. But that whole realm, whether you get a straight out of school or a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, medical school, we want you to be contributing. So I say that it's up to the folks here, the cabinet members, Dr. Lewis, to determine how much they want CTAE to be brought into elementary school. But we do have other places where there is some CTAE before Britt David.
Translation. Ms. Thomas said that don't look to her about this funding. look to Dr. Lewis about
Well,
how
I'm gonna look at the board.
about how he is directing or recommending the funding for elementary school.
But I do want to point out, there are funds available at the state level that we can apply for that can help facilitate, and they're looking for model or innovative programs. That's one of the things we've talked about, is being innovative and trying to explore where it might be beneficial. And I want to point out, there used to be a time when CTAE meant, things like welding and carpentry and all, and those still exist. And right now, I think everybody recognizes the need we have for carpenters. But it also pertains to robotics, falls under CTAE, computer programming falls under CTAE, all these different things, nursing, biomedical, all fall under CTAE. So this is not your mom and dad's CTAE any longer. It's all of the others, plus all these more advanced, higher level, professional requiring certification areas. So I think this is something that's really critically important for us to recognize that, yes, you might be college bound, but you've also got to know what options are available to you, and this is one step in that direction. We're really excited about it, and I think that Britt David's done a tremendous job of really taking time to explore this. They've taken it very seriously. Their faculty, staff, the administration, along with those mentioned, of course, Victoria, Keith Seifert and his department, Lori Watt when she was in the role, and of course, Christine in her previous role, and now in the executive director's role for curriculum. So we've got a good history here for Britt David. We're just expanding that to be something that's a little bit more relevant and something that gives these kids some forward thinking as far as what they want to do, whether it's something in technology, computers, biotechnology, medicine, whatever it might be that they want to do, they're connecting it to the future. And that's really exciting, and I'm really proud that our school district is taking a lead in this effort.
And that's a very good statement that you were saying about what Britt David was doing. And Ms. Thomas, that's what I was trying to say about the elementary schools.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, it's good that one has agriculture.
I'm sorry.
It's good that one has agriculture. You
Yes.
called a school that had agriculture. The way that Britt David is doing is integrating, it's in CTAE throughout their academics so that kids will have opportunity to see how they use their academics, how they use the engineering, how they use all of the academics, and can look toward the future. What I'm saying, this needs to go in all the elementary schools, not just one agriculture, but an integration of CTAE in their academic programs also. That's the only thing I was saying.
agree.
That's the only thing. And also, before you leave, Ms. Gardner, I still want to come back and say that I like the way that you have redone Britt David to be more inclusive to more students in Muscogee County. And I just, like I said, I didn't get it the first time, but I do like the way that you have opened that up to be more inclusive to more students.
Like I said, I have been, in my closing thoughts, I have been very pleased with it and reaching out to our parents. And I just think it's so good for the students, and that's what we're all about, is our students.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gardner. But Ms. Thomas, just before you go, just as some additional information for the board, and you can correct me if this was a one-off, but I believe I recall CTAE partnering with the guidance division, because elementary schools have maybe a certain time period where they do this integration thing. It used to be like career day, and now it's like something over a week. Something to that effect, where they were, because I've been to several elementary schools where they were doing this very description. And so what I see the difference here being, to Ms. Buckner's point, is the elementary schools can do this all year long versus that 1 week or 2 weeks. That where they're focusing on exposing the children to these different industries, and the parents from these industries, they come in, different partners in the community. It's something to that effect. I do, if I recall correctly, you can
On
just kind of
career day.
enlighten us.
Right.
Maybe on career day.
Well, we have, I Love My Future Week, which we're going to continue, which we, in February, that week of Valentine's Day. But I think what you're alluding to is the, the guidance curriculum, and I'm not, And let me just say this, Muscogee County has their way of doing CTAE and guidance and all that. In the eyes of the Georgia Department of Education, CTAE is over guidance. That's not how we do it here, and lots of districts do it the way we do it, where guidance is separate from career education. But there are other districts where guidance falls under CTAE because, to Ms. Buckner's point, it's all about looking toward the future. And so, but there are lessons integrated throughout that, the guidance, the school counselors do with their students. I know there was, I see a school counselor right there who could speak to that. But yes, they're, I think, required. They teach all 17 career clusters, and there's certain ones assigned to certain grades. That's what I remember.
Do you teach those clusters in I know in middle school and high school, because I know we teach them, and they take this little test or inventory, and we decide after the test, the decision is made what area that they're in. Now, is this done all the way down to elementary students?
We teach the 17 career.
Because I know that's not done.
Yes, ma'am. For the school counselors for the state of Georgia, we integrate the 17 career clusters 1st through 5th grade. My school, we go into kindergarten as well, but state directed it's 1st through 5th, and we divide K1 and 2, 1, 2, and 3, get 3 career clusters a year. And so we introduce that career cluster to the students and the different jobs and the different educational requirements for different jobs within that career. And then 4th and 5th, they each do 4 career clusters. Some schools do that maybe a little bit every time they see the kids, maybe a specific month, and then it leads up to the I Love My Futures. But we do introduce the topics that way when they get, and we do some interest inventories. That way, when they get to the 6th grade and they're starting their, picking their pathways, that they already have an idea in their head of what they're going through. What we're looking at with Britt David is just diving even deeper into that and aligning it with the curriculum.
Right, because I know, that's when you have to do it, but, I was just trying to make sure that these, and you say y'all do that. I'm hoping that it's done at the elementary school.
It is. It's done statewide. It used to be a part of CCRPI, so we would get scored for it. Now it's just still the Georgia Bridge Bill, which is still just law and mandate.
Okay. It was part of CCRPI?
It used to be a part of the CCRPI score about 2 years ago, and it's no longer counted there, but we still fall under Georgia Bridge Bill.
Was that like a checklist where teachers just, how was that done on the
for the CCRPI?
If it was a CCRPI, it had to be done.
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying, it absolutely had to be done.
We had to check off with the state that the lessons were taught. Some schools, the school counselors taught them. Some schools, the teachers
like a
taught the
check-off.
lessons. And then our 5th graders do a portfolio, which is a report and an oral presentation of a job of their choice.
That's what I recall.
Right.
Thank y'all so very much.
Thank you.
All right,
I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Buckner. We'll move on to our Personnel Committee, Ms. Jackson.
5.01 is the Chief Human Resource Officer, and the superintendent is recommending Ms. Tanya Carter, who is a West Point graduate with a degree in engineering, which led her to various HR positions during her 10-year career at General Motors that accumulated in a senior HR management role. She also earned a master's degree in organization development and achieved the top industrial certification of senior certified professional by the SHRM. During her 25 years HR career, she has worked in all major HR functions and led other seniors HR management position to include her current role as HR director for CRT Business Service.
Are there any questions?
Are there any questions? 5.02, the assistant principal, Jenton Elementary, and the superintendent is recommending Ms. Tanya Sanders. She began her career with Muscogee County School District 2001 at Hannon Elementary School. She taught Hannon Elementary School as well as Rockchild School before becoming the academic coach serving at Rockchild Middle School, Casita Road, Dorothy Heights Elementary School. In 2015, she became the federal program specialist where she's currently serving. Ms. Sanders received her bachelor's, master's specialist in education leadership degree from Columbus State University. Are there any questions? 5.03, assistant principal, Hannon Magnet Academy. The superintendent is recommending Mr. Adam Jones. He started at Clubview in 2013 as a kindergarten teacher. After a successful teacher career at Clubview, Mr. Jones became the elementary dean at Blanchard Elementary. He's currently the dean, the elementary dean at Fox Elementary. He completed his bachelor's degree at Columbus State University, master at Walden University, and his education leadership degree at Columbus State University. Are there any questions? 5.04, assistant principal, Hardaway High. The superintendent is recommending Ms. Erica Gandy. Okay, she joined the Muscogee County School District in 2013 as a science teacher at Baker Middle School. From 2015, 2019, she served the students at Arnold Magnet Academy as a science teacher before becoming the academic dean at Arnold. She earned her bachelor's degree, Albany State, and her master's degree at education leadership degree from Columbus State University. Are there any questions? Hearing none. 5.05, assistant principal, Reese Road Leadership Academy. The superintendent is recommending Ms. Connie Tebow? Okay. She started her Muscogee County School District journey in 2003 at Benning Hill Elementary School. She moved to Georgetown Elementary School in 2010, where she served until she moved to Dorothy Heights School in 2014, and then Forest Road Elementary in 2015. She became the academic coach at Wesley Heights Elementary in 2019, where she's currently serving. She earns her bachelor's degree at Columbus State University, master's degree from Troy, and her educational leadership degree from Columbus State University. Is there any question? 5.06 is the assistant principal at Waddell Elementary, and the superintendent is recommending Dr. Megan Hallisey. Okay, she served in variety classroom teaching positions from 1997 to 2011. In 2009, she became the district coordinator of the arts in Beaufort County School District and the interim assistant principal of 2010. She also served as the instructor at the Technical College of a Low Country in South Carolina, teaching assistant and clinical supervisor at Southern Illinois University, middle grade program coordinator at Columbus State University. She's currently serving as the dean at Dorothy Heights Elementary, received her bachelor's from Northwestern University, master's from DePaul University, principal certification from Dextrell University, and her PhD in educational from South Illinois University. Are there any questions? Really good resume. 5.07 is the re-election of professional certificated personnel, and there is an attachment. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I turn it back over to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Next is our Policy Committee. 6.01 is the revision of our IDEA policy, IEDA policy, unstructured break time. In accordance with our existing needs of the school district, the administration is recommending the revision of board policy, IEDA, to align with current legislation that passed this year's legislative session, House Bill 1283, that we had all of the news around recess, the recess bill. It's related to recess each day for students in kindergarten and grades 1 through 5. In the revised policy, schools are not required to schedule recess if there is physical education or other structured activities happening that day, and any circumstances that are out of control, the control of the school, such as emergencies, disasters, or acts of God. Also, recess cannot be withheld due to any disciplinary or academic reasons. And I want to thank Ms. Jones for running this through our GSBA policy folk to make sure that we're not doing anything internally that would not have us in compliance or in alignment with the new legislation that has come down. So that, will we be voting on it Monday, or does it sit on? August, we're gonna sit 30 days and vote on that, so it'll be on the agenda Monday, and we're not taking any action. All right. I'm sorry, Ms. Butler.
Yeah, that now, I think that's supposed to be this, I was looking at, that's supposed to be decided by the administration per school, right?
It's going to be decided by the administration, is what you're
How is
asking?
it, yeah, how is that? I thought I read that on the actual policy.
The law changed that it's not required.
Yeah,
for-
but if they don't have anything that
If
day,
if they currently have a program in, some kind of physical activity program in place.
in place, but if they don't have like the PE for that day, aren't they
Hit your
supposed to
mic,
have
Mr.
something?
Cipher.
Yes, ma'am. This is, the main difference is the recess. They're required to have recess.
Right.
However, as Ms. Hughley Green stated, there are items such as physical education that they would normally, if they have it that day, they're not required to have recess. Or if there's other structured activities that are scheduled during that day, they're not
On
required
this policy,
to
I
have
read somewhere that it's,
recess.
Now, so who's gonna, the schools, the individual principals gonna decide that?
That's correct. The
Okay,
individual
I
principals.
read that on the actual policy, yes.
Mhm.
Because it's gonna be different at different schools.
Correct. Based on their schedule,
Right.
there's no time requirement to this.
That's what
We're going to make some recommendations for that, but scheduling will be up to each individual school.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, thanks.
The only thing I'm going to say is we all recognize that there's a need for students, especially at the elementary level, to have some unstructured time for recess and play and that kind of thing whenever possible and part of their physical activity. It's really important for kids to get out and be able to experience some of the outdoor activities. And this just codifies that in state law.
All right, that concludes the policy committee. Next, we'll have discipline committee, Dr. Sly.
Discipline tribunal panel members are selected every year, and in your material there, you'll have a list of all that have been suggested, plus 3 or 4 more new members, and I move that they be approved.
Yes, sir. We'll take it up next week. Thank you, Dr. Sly. That concludes your discipline committee. Ms. Chambers, property committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 8.01 is the library report. The Bias Inside Us exhibit will run at the Columbus Public Library through the end of July. This exhibit and community engagement project, organized by the Smithsonian, is an exploration of social science, psychology, and the consequences of implicit bias. We all have this innate human trait, and being aware of our biases can help us recognize their influence and the impact on our behavior and worldview. The Bias Inside Us offers an opportunity to learn how to challenge biases in the world through awareness of one's own biases. So the Chattahoochee Valley Library was selected as one of the 40 locations nationally for this exhibit. And we are the only public library in Georgia to offer it. So had to read that since we're making history all over the map. And there are several service stories attached. I will not read those to you, but it warms your heart. Any questions about the library report?
I just want to thank you, Ms. Chambers, for reading that, because it's very, very important that we re-emphasize this run of this exhibit, and hopefully parents will take their children, and if you don't have children, adults will go on this field trip, this summer field trip to see that exhibit.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, 8.02 is the museum report. And I won't read the entire thing to you. It is attached, but I do want to mention this. The museum team has spent much of the month prepping and installing Alma W. Thomas. Everything is beautiful and it's opening opened July the 1st. This has been co-organized by the Columbus Museum and the Chrysler Museum in Art of Norfolk, Virginia. This major traveling exhibit includes more than 150 objects, including an important selection of the extensive materials related to Thomas and her family that the Columbus Museum holds in its archives. Alma W. Thomas, Everything is Beautiful, demonstrates how Thomas's creative practices extended to every facet of her life, from community service and teaching to gardening and clothing. The exhibit is organized around multiple themes for Thomas's life and career. It features a wide range of artworks and archival materials that reveal Thomas's artistic complexity from early in her career to her later projects, including her breakthrough solo show that's at the Whitney Museum of American Art in 1972. And I had to read that because of her ties to Columbus. But you all please go by and see this very important exhibit for Alma W. Thomas.
And if I may, this is already the subject of some field trips that are upcoming when school gets back in session, as well as some of our summer learning experiences are connected to that exhibit as well. But both of these reports just highlight once again what great partners we have in the museum and the library, and we're just so appreciative and thankful that we have such great partnerships in our community that our students can benefit from, as well as their families.
Absolutely. Diamond in the rough. Any questions about the library report or the museum report? Hearing none, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Chambers. And under the construction committee, related to the Columbus Museum project, there is a modification that's being requested for the guaranteed maximum price for Phase 1 and Phase 2 from 19. What, you were going to speak to that, Mr. Anderson? No, okay. Ms. Williams.
Excuse me, I'm a little confused. Is this the budget for the guaranteed maximum price, or is this amendment to a budget we've already approved?
You want to speak to that, Mayor? I believe it's.
Thank you. We, because of inflation and getting hard bids, we went through that process starting in May and getting results in May and late May and June. So this is now a budget based on the bids that Freeman and Associate obtained recently.
Okay, again, is this the budget for the renovation of the museum, or is this an amendment to the budget?
It would be at this point the budget, because the original budget.
So it's not in addition to?
Right, no.
Okay,
This is everything for the construction costs.
And this indicates it's for a Phase 2? The
Phase one was the
done-
collection storage vault
Right,
project.
okay. And this is SPOSS funding.
The collection storage vault was, and we still have some splost funding left, but the majority of this is coming from funds that the museum has raised from local donors and foundations, both locally and elsewhere.
When you get an opportunity, would you send me what that breakdown looks like? It's not clear here what is coming from the museum and
Okay.
what's coming from the district and what's coming from the SPOSS.
Okay, so the only funding that's coming from the district is splost money. And at this point, the total that we got from, which we're grateful for, is 3 million. And we used just a little over 1 million of that for the collection storage vault. So we have about 2.2 or 2.3 million that is still splost, and that will be going for this project for infrastructure needs, the unglamorous needed things.
To be clear, this is a request for approximately 19 million for a second phase. Of that, about 17 million is coming from the museum
Correct,
funding.
Correct.
Private funding.
correct.
So you could look at this as a quite extraordinary public-private partnership.
Correct.
That also included a little leftover from the East Bloss that we got prior and then this.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I would say, bravo, excellent leverage.
Thank you.
Did you have something to say, Dr.
No,
Lewis?
I just want to clarify that.
Ms. Chambers, you have something?
I just have a question of clarity. So thank you, Kathy, for bringing that up. I do see the 2.3 million that will be coming out of splash funds and 17 million from the museum. The attached outline says that it's a tentative budget. Does that mean that, it could exceed this?
We've
They got their
allowed.
GMP.
We've allowed 4% for escalation between now and November, and then also an additional higher than normal amount of 900,000 that would be for contingency. And once this is approved, Freeman Association, Freeman will be, their intention is to order as much of the mechanical, electrical equipment as they can ASAP so that it doesn't escalate further.
Yes, because prices are
Yes.
going up expeditiously.
But I would imagine that is why it said partly tentative, or it may be from a leftover, but it is based on a bidding that went through the state program.
Okay.
But right now, nobody's willing to commit to a hard bid for very long anymore.
I totally understand. Thank you. All right, sounds good. Thank you so much for the clarity.
Thank you so very much. And then we have 9.02, our construction status project report. And Mr. Anderson?
Good evening. I'm Travis Anderson, Chief Operations Officer, and we're going to go through our monthly update. So as a reminder, we go through a picture slide every odd month, but you get the monthly update every month. So we are really excited about the progress we've been able to make, even with some really challenging weather. We've had lots of rain and we have lots of heat, which impacts construction, but we're still on task. You'll see Carver Weight Room. Last time you saw this, it was significantly under construction. Carver Weight Room is almost done. We're doing punch list items there. Same with Columbus High School's weight room expansion. We're doing punch list items there as well. Very different from last time you saw that. As you know, there are a multitude of projects happening at Jordan High School. When you go to Jordan, you will see in the very front that we're adding parking, which is going to be extremely helpful to access that building. We're also adding an ADA ramp, which is again about access to the building, as well as replacing the old awning in the back. Northside High School, last time you saw Northside High School, it was significantly under construction. We have made some progress, so these pictures are from June, and this is what it looks like now. So we've been able to move along fairly quickly with those weight room expansion projects at the high schools. Veterans Memorial Band Room expansion. We are almost done with that project. Again, it is on schedule to be completed before students return. And of course, the Otis Spencer Stadium. Here we have our tennis courts, visitor side, home side, parking. And then that's an overall view. As always, we have the drone footage available online. It will be posted on our social media, and the link is here as well for you to view the drone video. Some additional projects we're continuing to work on. Matthew Elementary School, the next time you see the slideshow, you'll be able to see more work happening at Matthews. We're excited about what's going on there, as well as our middle school fields. By the time you see the next slideshow, those projects will be complete. So we're excited about those projects, even with the challenging weather that we've had, as well as the challenge with inflation. We are still keeping our projects under budget or at budget and on time. So we're really appreciative to our community for continuing to support us, as well as our vendors who are working very hard to stay with us and keep us on track. We really appreciate them. Thank you so much. Are there any questions?
I have a couple questions. I have first a comment. The stadium is nothing short of spectacular. When I go down Casita Road, it literally takes my breath away. It is amazing. So to everybody that hasn't had a chance to drive through that part of town and see what not only the new Spencer High, well, it's not so new anymore, Spencer High School, as well as that, is just, everybody needs to go look at it. So I know that many of our schools are going through refresh this summer and getting painted and all that good stuff. Could I possibly get a schedule of those that are, and I have schools in my district that are thankfully getting amazing work done, but then I also have some schools that aren't getting anything done, and I'd like to know, for those schools, is there a schedule that I can kind of anticipate when any work will be done there, or is there, some type of rotation, or what's the logic to some schools being done and some not? That would be really helpful.
Absolutely. So what you're referring to is what we're calling our summer projects. And so you'll get an update on that when we complete them. You'll see all the things that we did this summer. We're looking forward to sharing that with you. And we will be able to provide with you, we're revising the schedule of what those renovations will look like, what those summer projects will look like moving forward. We're revising that schedule to make sure we're meeting the current needs and that we're really utilizing our dollars wisely and leveraging some funds that we have because of ESSER.
Yeah, teachers talk to each other, especially when they're close proximity to each other. And just questions about when are we going to be done? And I'd like to be able to answer that as honestly as I can.
Absolutely.
Instead of just saying, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Once we finish that timeline, we will definitely share it with you.
Thank you.
A question also.
Yes.
As you go through and complete your summer projects. Also, if something is not on the summer projects, principal has, not that it may be granted, but a principal can make a request that certain things are done also, right?
That is correct. So any immediate repair need is entered through the work order system. If there is a special project that they would like to have worked on at their school, then they would reach out to their regional coordinator for facility services and plant services, and they'll meet with them to figure out how we can address that project.
Right, and if there's a certain need also.
Absolutely.
Special project and a specific need.
We address all the needs that are presented to us and that we have funding to address. We absolutely do those.
I was just trying to make sure that we all knew that needs, have to be also presented too.
Yes.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
All right,
Thank you so much.
so very much, Ms. Williams. You're just ready to go. All right, that concludes our construction committee. Ms. Williams for finance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 10.01 is the recommended athletic admission prices. I'll note that there is no change over last year for these admission prices. Any questions? Takes us to 10.02. You have 7 items before you under purchase exception A and B, which includes your textbooks, newspapers, library books, etc. Any questions on any of those items? Seeing none, that takes us to 10.03, purchase exception F. This is for existing competitively bid contracts at the state level or federal level. You have 6 items before you. Are there any questions on any of those items? And again, these are items that were bid at the state or federal level that we take advantage of that opportunity. Takes us to 10.04, purchase exception G, professional services. You have 15 items, before you. Are there any questions on any of those items? They're all pretty self-explanatory. Seeing none, that takes us 10.05. This is your monthly sole source and volatile purchases. For this one, it's just one item. Well, I guess it's because we're in the summer and we don't use as much gas. This is an item for Jordan High School for construction-related equipment. Whoa, I just lost everything. Okay. That takes us to 10.06. This is your monthly purchase order increases. There are 3 items before you. Are there any questions? 10.07 is your monthly adjustments for your federal grants, and this is CTAE. There's only 2 items there because it's summertime. 10.08, you have 9 items under, again, CTAE. That are being recommended for budget adjustments FY23. The prior item was for FY22. And then I will bring your attention to my favorite, which is the donations and how much we appreciate our donors. Even at the end of the year and in the summer, we have over $44,000 being contributed to our schools from anonymous donors, from booster clubs, for individuals, from just everywhere, from nonprofits, from faith-based, from companies. We are truly blessed in this community for the generosity and support of our public education system. And last but not least, 10.10 is your monthly financial statements. Are there any questions on any of those attachments? This includes your regular financial statements, your investment summary, your eSPLOS revenue, and capital project expenditure reports. Madam Chair, that completes my report.
All right, thank you, Ms. Williams. Do we have anything else before? Dr. Lewis, you want to? Yes.
Just a reminder, we do have an executive session for a personnel matter. And I'm going to say this tonight as well as next week. Just a reminder for online registration for parents, please help us with that and complete those online registrations. If you have any problems with that, please let us know at the central office. We'll do everything we can to assist you.
Or go to your school.
Or go to your schools, whatever it might be. We just want to make sure we're trying to get all the students online registered before the magic day. It's always a harried time right before school starts. Also, just a reminder, the first day for teachers is August 1st. First day for pre-K through second grade is Friday, August 5th. This is something we started last year as just a way to get those young ones acclimated to the new school year. And then for the first day for all other students in grades 3 through 12 will be on Monday, August 8th, so everybody plan accordingly. That's all I had. Just want to remind everybody of those important dates coming up. We're looking forward to getting the kids back to school.
Most important date is register your children.
Yeah, amen.
All right, we've been motion and second that we go into executive session for a personnel matter. All in favor? Good night, everybody. We shall return when we're out of executive session.